Good afternoon and welcome to Science Made Easy with Prof. RSK, where I am a learner, you are a learner, and we are all learners. Since knowledge is not found in one person's head, we all do our best to learn from each other. Right. Since we are learning from each other, we also give room for errors and mistakes. Since we are learning new things, we will continue to make new mistakes. And once we make new mistakes, it is up to us to correct them and then move on. Mistakes are also very important in our studies. All right. So once you make a mistake, don't make it too hard on yourself. I mean, don't be too down, but correct your mistakes and then make sure that you are able to overcome it. Or if you get it wrong today, make sure you get it right tomorrow. All right. So without wasting much time, let's just move to action. All right. We've been talking about digestion. And under digestion, we have considered the organs and the role they play. We have looked at the various organs and how important they are. Today, we also want to make sure that we add to the knowledge what we have acquired. Before we continue, I will ask everybody to mention one organ and then one organ that is associated with the digestive system before we continue our discussion today. So I want to start from Master Zoe. Can you mention one organ associated with the digestive system? Then Ethan will also continue. NK will also come in. Esther will give us another. Lady Gloria will also give hers. And then Jaden Salasi will also complete it for us. So without wasting much time, Master Zoe, an organ in the digestive system. Yeah, unless you unlock, we can't hear you. Unmute your microphone. Right.
The esophagus.
Esophagus. Can you spell esophagus?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Esophagus. O-E-S-O-H-A-G-U-S.
Take it again. Esophagus. There is a P. Esophagus. Take it again.
Esophagus. O-E-S-O-P-H-A-G-U-S. Esophagus.
Very good. Yes. The next person. You unmute your microphone and then you tell us.
Liver.
Right. Your name?
Ethan.
Ethan. Liver. Can you spell liver?
Yes, please. L-I-V-E-R. Liver.
Well done. Next person, please. Lady Gloria.
The small intestine.
Small intestines. Thank you very much, Lady Gloria. Yes, Michael John.
Thirdly, the mouth.
Right. Thank you very much, Michael John. Jaden Selassie.
Sepis, large intestine.
Right. NK.
Pancreas.
Pancreas. Right. That is good. Yes. Who else? Kaylin. Kaylin. Hello. Yes. Who else? All right. Whilst we wait for them, let's continue. Now, who can tell us something small about the digestive system? Something small about the digestive system. Yes, Zoe.
The digestive system is the system that carries organs to help digest food.
That is great. Yes. Who else, please?
Jason Ofori.
The digestive system is the process of taking in food and making it go into a system and getting nutrients out of it.
All right. So, what is digestion? Let's get some basic definition. Digestion is the process by which food is broken down and then absorbed. And the food that is broken down into the simplest unit, the smallest unit. And the smallest unit is then absorbed. Now, when it is absorbed, the body now uses it to get more energy. So if we can say digestion again, digestion is a process by which food is broken down into the simplest unit. And very soon we'll talk about the simplest unit of all the food that we eat. And then you get to know the simplest food, the simplest unit, or the smallest unit of the food that you are eating. Yes, somebody's hand is up. Is it Kaylin? Clenham? All right, so let's just proceed. Yes, can you give the definition, Jason?
Digestion is the process whereby complex food substances are broken down into soluble units for easy absorption by the body cells.
Very well. There's that definition. You have done well, Jason. Now, let's move on. The definition he just gave us is telling us or giving us or pointing out some terms. Absorption, it is telling us body cells, and then it is also making mention of assimilation, as in taking in. We will understand all these terms very soon. But before we do, we have stated that food begins its journey through the mouth. The food enters our mouth, and then in the mouth, food is broken down by the help of the teeth. The arrangement and number of teeth in the buccal cavity, that is our mouth, is known as dentition. So dentition is the arrangement of teeth and the number in our mouth. When food is chewed, we have an organ called salivary gland that secretes saliva. Saliva is released onto the food. In the saliva, we have salivary amylase. Salivary amylase acts on the food to help in the breakdown of carbohydrates. So every food that contains starch, carbohydrate, salivary amylase help to break it down. Now, when the food starts in the mouth, digestion of carbohydrates starts in the mouth, it continues through the esophagus into the stomach. When the food gets into the stomach, digestion of carbohydrates stops. Take it from me and listen carefully. The reason why this is an extended class, and in this class, we say everything, is that here we want you to acquire more knowledge so that you can apply. I am repeating. Digestion of carbohydrates starts in the mouth. As we all know, it passes through the esophagus and then into the stomach. In the stomach, digestion of carbohydrates stops and digestion of protein begins. So whilst digestion of carbohydrates is no more working, digestion of protein starts its breakdown. So if you remember the song, digestion of carbohydrate begins in the mouth, digestion of protein begins in the stomach. So when protein digestion starts in the stomach, further breakdown also continue in the stomach. The digestive juice and other fluids help to make the digestion or the food very soft and then watery. Now, at this point, when the food continues its way from the stomach, it moves into the small intestines. And in the small intestines, we have digestion of fat and oil starting. Please note, digestion of carbohydrates is in the stomach. It starts in the stomach. Digestion of protein starts in, digestion of carbohydrates starts in the mouth. Digestion of protein starts in the stomach. Digestion of fat and oil also starts in the small intestines. Now, all the food are in the small intestines, whether it is protein, fat and oil, or carbohydrates, all of them are found in the small intestines. In the small intestines, digestion of carbohydrates is completed. Digestion of carbohydrates is completed. And when that happens, carbohydrates that is present is now broken down into the simplest unit. And the simplest unit for carbohydrates is glucose. I repeat it again. The simplest unit of carbohydrates is glucose. Now, the body cannot absorb banku. The body cannot absorb kokunte. The body cannot absorb gari, fufu. What the body can absorb is glucose. That is the simplest unit. So the body will now absorb this glucose in the small intestines. So in the small intestines, there are tube-like structures in the intestine called the microvilli. I'll show you a picture so that you see it. But those of you who have watched our videos on YouTube, you will see the microvilli. If you have not watched the video, please click on digestion.
I need to charge it.
Digestion on. Click on digestion. And then when you watch the video, you will see the microvilli. All right. Now, the body absorbs all these nutrients. And when the body absorbs all these nutrients, it will now process it to give us energy. Carbohydrates will end as glucose. Protein will end as amino acid. Let me spell this one. Amino, A, M, I, N, O, amino acid. And fat will end as fatty acid. The end product of glucose, the end product of carbohydrates is glucose. The end product of protein is amino acid. And the end product of fats and oil is fatty acid. Before we go, I want you to understand that every food you are eating ends up in the small intestines, where the end product is absorbed, and the ones that were not able to digest is pushed into the large intestines. In the large intestines, water is absorbed from the undigested food. Let me repeat this one. It is very important. In the large intestines, water is absorbed from the undigested food. But in the small intestines, carbohydrates, which ends as glucose, protein ends as amino acid, and then fat and oil, fatty acid. I want you to take note of these. Very, very important. And questions can be asked on this aspect. What is the end product of carbohydrates? I want you to write your answers in the comment section. What is the end product of protein? What is the end product of fat and oil? Do well to submit your answers in the comment section. Right. So before we go, a wrap up of everything that we have said today. We said digestion is the process by which complex food substances are broken down into simpler absorbable units. The complex foods include banku, fufu, yam, rice, egg, beans, granite. If the food you are eating is jollof rice, if it is jollof rice, well, remember that there is oil in the jollof rice. So the end product of the oil in the jollof rice is certainly going to be fat and oil. That is what fatty acid, okay? Fatty acid, that is what the body is going to absorb. And then the end product of carbohydrate, which is the rice, is going to be glucose. That is what the body is going to absorb. And the end product of protein found in the egg, meat, sausage, that is also going to be amino acid. So that is what the body will absorb. And all these processes will complete in the small intestines. So digestion of carbohydrate begins in the mouth, carbohydrate, and then will end in the small intestines, giving us glucose. Digestion of fat and oil will begin in the small intestines and then will end in the small intestines, giving us fat and oil, as in fatty acid and glycerol. Forget about the spelling of glycerol at your level, but I just want you to know that the end product of fat and oil will give us fatty acid. Fatty acid. Now, the end product of protein is also giving us amino acid. For those who will get confused with the spelling, I hope we all can spell amina. Can we spell amina using the syllables or the syllabi?
Yes, please.
Na.
Yes, sir.
Good. So if you can spell amina, remove the last A and put O. Amina. Then you remove the last A and you put O. So it will sound amino acid. So the end product of protein is amino acid. I hope we are clear. Now,
Yes, sir.
let's finalize. Let's finalize. From the small intestines, food which were not able to digest will be pushed into the large intestines, and water will be absorbed from the undigested food. Finally, it will be deposited temporarily in the rectum. So the rectum is the temporal place where food which were or undigested food is stored before it is released into, or it is released from the anus. These processes happen to every animal. Food first enters the mouth, it is processed, and then it's released. Animals like ruminants, goats, cow, they have 4-chambered stomach. Their stomach is divided into 4, if I can say that. So food is processed at various stages or various parts of the stomach before they are released. But we humans, our stomach is just one. And that is why it is very important for you to chew the food very well. Chew the food very well before you swallow. Make sure that you chew it and not swallow. Because the more you swallow the food, the more time it takes for the food to be digested. I want to say a big thank you for joining me today. Today we talked about digestion. Try and answer the questions in the comment section. And I also want to say a big thank you to all parents for your massive support. I want to say a special thank you today to Emanuela's father for the amazing support. I am grateful to you all, and my name is still Prof. RSK. My business is to make science very easy and very, very interesting. We'll meet again, but before we do, make sure you click on our website, www.profrsk.com, and then read more of these lessons. I have prepared a special note on the site for you. Please visit and then read more. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.